What's up, guys? The Danglers are back live from the casting couch. We have a name now. It is the Danglers, and we got a good episode for y'all.
What do you think, Dirty Mike?
I'm pretty hyped up. We had an alumni come up with this name, the one and only Austin Hanley.
No free
So
shout-outs.
shout out to Austin Hanley.
Well, we got a special guest this week. You may have heard the name Lee before, Jordan Lee. He's the one that lost to Matt Lee in the Classic bracket. May or may not have won a couple Classics, AOY points for MLF. But before we get to that, I'd like to bring up that we're doing a special giveaway. Everybody that dropped a hammer on the comment on the Instagram post from the last podcast, we're doing a raffle at the end of the show. You guys are going to get a free T-shirt. And stay tuned to the end of this episode for a chance to win a brand new Revo Reel.
Look at that expensive piece of paper.
So without further ado, let's bring him on.
Talk to us.
I am on, boys. Y'all like that piece of paper? Y'all get there one day.
That thing looked expensive.
Where'd you get the shadow box?
It's very expensive. I didn't pay for it either.
How many years did it take?
What's that?
How many years did it take?
Not as much as Dirty Mike's probably playing.
I've only been here a few years.
What's a few?
It took me like 4.5.
You got me beat.
About 5. It was about 5. It wasn't 4.5. But we got through it. We grinded it away.
The fishing team.
Yeah. Fishing team's average is like 6.
I'm on I think I'm at 5 right now. But I'm a part-time student now, so things have changed.
Yeah, he's a working man.
Yeah, it took a little while. I don't even know, but it was kind of a blur. But that last year was a grind. I don't remember that. That's the only thing I remember. It was just brutal. School was tough, but got through it. But I like y'all's crib y'all got going on.
How about the Tiki Bar? What do you think about that?
That Tiki, I couldn't read it. Yeah, I thought Auburn Tiki Bar.
War Damn Eagle.
That's custom. That's a custom job.
Oh yeah, custom piece.
Yeah, we don't do store bought here.
Who built that?
I don't know. Who built it, Mitchell?
So when my old roommate moved out, his new roommate was just getting rid of it. So I just got it for free.
Hand me down.
Yeah, old hand me down.
Oh, Goodwill.
What kind of decor did you have in your Auburn house?
We didn't have anything that cool.
You didn't have any shakers from the football games hanging around?
We have what?
The shakers from the football games?
No.
The pom-poms?
Yeah, we may have had a couple shakers. We had a couple rugged old couches that'd seen a thing or two. We had a TV, Xbox, a kitchen that was just trashed most of the time. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool little house.
All right, so I got a serious question. How did you convert your wife from being a Georgia fan to an Auburn fan? Because I see on Facebook she's always saying War Damn Eagle now, and I'm just like, oh, I know, Kristen. I know.
Oh, yeah. She grew up in Georgia, but when she was down there, your neck of the woods, I mean, that's the only thing. She honestly doesn't really care about football. I mean, but I took her to Auburn game probably a year after, or probably around the time I was graduating, like 2014 or somewhere in there, and she loved it. We had fun. We went to a couple football games, and she was fired up from then on out.
Heck yeah. The reason I ask is because Logan's always talked about following your footsteps, and so he started by converting his girlfriend from an Alabama student to an Auburn student.
Yeah, I met her not too long ago.
So,
yeah, she said she's from Alabama or went to school there. I think. Doesn't she go to school there?
She's an Auburn student now.
Transferred this semester.
He got her to transfer. Wow.
He's pulled the upset off.
That is a big time upset.
That's like kick 6 all over again.
Yeah.
All we need is 1 second, boys.
Is that all it took?
1 second. That could be his new.
1 second, Logan.
That's about all it takes.
That's generous.
That's all it's ever taken.
All right, so you guys want to get started with a little icebreaker session?
Yeah, let's get it
Let's
started.
hear it.
Let's do it.
Hear it.
All right,
See what y'all got.
we're gonna
gonna
start
do
you off
a-
easy,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get into it afterwards.
I like easy.
So rapid fire questionnaire right here.
All right, let's start it off with me. Pens or pencils?
Neither.
Neither. Okay.
Flipping or frogging?
Flipping.
Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
Auburn football games or Auburn basketball games?
Auburn football.
M&M's or Skittles?
M&M's. Peanut M&M's at that.
I like that.
I'll get detailed for you.
You
I
got
like
the
the
caramel
peanut.
ones?
I hadn't had those yet.
The pretzel ones are actually
Yeah.
kind of good too.
Pretzel ones and the caramel
You're
ones.
getting
Those are
fancy
gas.
with them now. I've only had
Yeah.
the peanut ones.
I didn't know they made those.
All right, last one.
Both.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Well,
That was that's all good old fashioned setup right there. We had that planned out.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, y'all did good on that.
All right.
Mike,
I
you
got
can't drink so close to the mic.
my bad. I got a for real fishing question for you. Let's say you're going to a lake you haven't fished a whole bunch, and you got 1 day to practice. You gonna spend that day fishing around, or are you gonna spend that day scanning?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, usually we only got 2 days of practice for MLF, so it's kind of, you got at 1 day. I mean, typically it depends on the time of year. If it's spring, I'm obviously probably not going to be scanning around. I'm going to be fishing a lot, probably most of the time. If it's summer, I'm probably going to spend, if I have 1 day practice, I'm probably going to spend 80% of it grafting around. So it just time of year, but most of the time I'm going to be fishing if I had 1 day and, fish kind of the obvious stuff and, go from there.
I got you.
Well, we'll go off of that. How long does it take you to rule out an area? Say you put your trolling motor down, put your ghost down, fishing around. How long are you there?
Yeah. Typically if I'm shallow, I mean, usually probably 30 minutes if I don't get bit. If it's like a big bay or a pocket or, something like that, I'll typically move around and, I look around a lot. I mean, 2 days of practice, you don't really have that much time. So you're always wanting to be moving and try to find a productive area just where you can get you get 1 or 2 bites, hey, I might come back in here. And yeah, it just kind of depends, but about 30 minutes. If I don't get bit, I'm dipping.
What's your thoughts on shaking off fish? You believe in it or you think it's stupid?
I mean, everything really depends, but I don't really shake off any fish unless like I pull into a place and I catch 2 or 3 real quick or something like that. And I get another bite and it's, if it's on like a spinnerbait or crankbait, you can't really shake them off, or chatterbait even. But if it's like bottom baits, I may shake 1 or 2 off and leave, but I'm not shaking unless, I've got several bites. And, the first bite I get, I'm never shaking it because you don't know, I've done that before and it be a freaking catfish or something, and you're just wasted. You come back and you expect something and it's not there.
Good
So
point. I never thought about that. About it being like a different species than you think.
yeah,
Dude.
I mean,
You may pull up on a gar hole.
That happened to me this summer on Pickwick at the college natty. I thought I
Really?
found like the megawad, like the big ones. There'd be like 5 of them down there. I was like, oh, these are blimps. This is where we're starting. Like first cast, my partner caught like a 30-pound catfish on a swim bait. It's like, wow, rip. Yeah, that's tough.
yeah, I've done that many a times. Out deep, and it'd be like, just like you said, they've dotted up and it'd be freaking catfish or something. And you're like, this sucks. So yeah, I always try to fish if you can, just to make sure. If you catch one, like, okay, these are bass. But
Is there one time that you can remember in particular that you went out and you thought that you had some fish and it was just nothing or a completely different species?
Oh, I don't know about different species, but yeah, I mean, I found some stuff, and it just obviously it's like every day. I can't remember one instance, but yeah, I mean, they move so much. So I mean, you find an area with them. I mean, like down there in Florida, so many times, and then something front or something changes, you never get bit, but not really a different species. I hadn't really seen that a whole lot in tournaments.
He's just better than us.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean stripe move into places all the time, like on Smith. You're catching spots one day, and next day there may be a stripe. So,
You ever catch a stripe out of the waterfalls up there?
oh yeah, all those run-ins and stuff.
Because I was up there for practicing for a tournament. It's like a week ahead, and the lake was up like 8 foot.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw a buzzbait up into this waterfall, and like a 30-pound stripe came out of the waterfall for it. It was the craziest thing. I'd never caught a big striper before, so it was like the craziest thing I ever saw. It was like this big fish coming out of water higher than my boat is sitting in.
Yeah, stupid.
That's
Them big
wild.
stripe will gang up back there. But yeah, that happens pretty often up there.
What y'all got for him?
Got a few questions here.
All right.
Let's move into
I like it.
All right,
For
so what's your greatest memory of fishing in college?
Greatest memory. Oh, we had a lot of them, but I don't know. I mean, probably. I mean, it would tough to top the classic bracket up there in Michigan that me and Shane were battling out head to head. That one, or the only really other. Me and Shane won I should say Shane and I, we won a tournament over there at Lake Wiley. That was a lot of fun. But we didn't really win a lot of bigger college tournaments. The only ones, I mean, Matt won the classic bracket and I won the classic bracket the next year. That's what really everybody remembers, but we never won a national championship. So I'd say probably either one of those, us going to the classic. I mean, that was huge for us. And I mean, that was some good memories.
You mean your greatest college fishing memory wasn't going pond fishing back in the day?
With Logan?
Yeah, you remember that?
With what?
You remember when we went to that
Yeah,
pond?
yeah.
Where'd y'all
That
go?
pond was
Yeah, dude, we
that
went.
pond. Though, do y'all ever go out there anymore?
Dude, after we went out there and like took you out there, we caught so many fish and like everybody heard about it and it just got hammered.
Ruined.
Yeah,
the Moore's Mill Pond?
no, it was it's this neighborhood in Auburn called East Lake.
Oh,
And,
I know that
It was
pond.
huge.
Dude,
I know that pond.
if you could go and like go with somebody that had permission, because they would like run you out of there so fast. But
My old teacher's son used to wear them out there, and he'd always show me pictures in class.
yeah, dude, that was the place to go. We took Jordan out there. He showed us how to use a drop shot, and it was all over.
Dude, that drop shot was money, wasn't it?
Yeah, just throw it out there in the middle of the pond. They just
They
right
just
on it.
swam to it, gobble it up. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was fun. We caught a couple nice ones out there. I was like, dude, I wish I knew about this the whole time I was here. We pond fished around there. We'd always go to the one, and it wasn't even good, but we were just bored. We'd go to the one behind, gosh, it's over there by the interstate. It's close to y'all probably.
Danny George's?
Panty George's behind it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
heard that
that-
was good.
Over at the Technology Parkway?
Yeah, right there.
I don't want to give y'all's juice, but
Someone told me it was good, and I never went, but my brother went, and he said it sucked.
There's an old trailer park out on the sticks not far from town that's got hydrilla in it, and I go and wear them out. I caught my first spotted bass in this pond.
someone must have put it in there.
Yeah, a week later I'm at the pool, and this old redneck, he's drunk. He's like, "Yeah, I dropped a bunch of Coosa spots in this one pond." I was like, "I think I caught one last week."
Yeah, them pond fish normally aren't Coosa spots.
Because I caught it. I'd never caught a spot, and I catch it, and I was like, this is not like a normal bass. And there's these two dudes walking, and I was still at Southern Union at this time. And these guys are walking, and they got like an Auburn, one of them's wearing an Auburn fishing shirt. And I was like, hey, man, is this a spotted bass? And they're like looking at me like I'm an idiot. And I was like, they're like, yeah. And I was like, sick. I've never caught one before. And they just looked at me like I was retarded.
Your first one came out of a trailer park pond. That's legendary.
That's the most Dirty Mike thing ever.
That's legendary.
It just falls under.
Trailer park spots. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever go to the Chattahoochee and catch some shoal bass while you were down here?
The only time we caught shoal bass is when we went up Harding. We go up Harding all the way up in the rocks up there, up in the rapids, and catch, get as far as we could. And we caught some good ones up there, but we didn't. We never went to like the Flint or anything like that. But yeah, we went up there and caught some.
Carson knows where you're talking about. He won a qualifier up there this year.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
First one of the season.
It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Past that little island, you catch the shoals?
Yeah, we caught some shoals, nothing big, but another guy on the team, Rob, he found them in practice and he saw them swimming. And he wasn't sure what they were. He's like, dude, I sure hope these are spots because you can't wear in the shoals in Alabama.
Yeah.
And we put it in Longbridge, so we were going up there, and he caught like a 4.5 pounder shoal bass and had to throw it back in the qualifier.
He got a 3-pounder too.
He caught some big ones.
All I know is I was the tournament director this year, and I'm fishing in practice, and Carson's brother calls me up and goes, hey, can we weigh in shoal bass? And I was like, no.
They were biting up there.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're calling to ask that, then no.
Dude, I tore my Ranger up there.
Really?
Yeah, like back in high school. Woo. You know, like that island where you can go around to the right and you can run like all the way up?
I've never been up there. I want to go up there. I'm scared to tear my boat
I
up.
went around that right side and then came out at the top, and like we tried to drift back over the shoals. Not a good idea. That was.
Yeah.
I want to go up there, but I haven't.
The FLW had a college tournament out there at Harding, and we went up there. It was like in September. It was a tough time, but we caught a bunch of shoals. We caught some nice shoals. We had to dump them all back, but we caught probably, I don't know how many we caught. We caught several that were, bigs, and just, it was like we just had to eventually just leave because they were just all shoals. But
yeah, shoal bass have been killing it on Seminole. I mean, Keith Poche was catching them in that Costa event, or what is it, Toyota event?
Yeah.
And he won.
They catch some shoals, yeah.
I didn't realize they got that far down the Flint. Like, I thought they stayed farther up.
I mean, he ran up the river, but
yeah, he ran way up there.
He's running that Gator Tracks boat this year, that tunnel hole.
Yeah.
That's gonna be kind of cool to see.
I bought a couch. Yeah. I bought a couch from him. So if you see Keith, ask him about that couch that dude bought from him.
I'll ask him. I'll be sure that'll be the first thing I ask him.
It was on Facebook Marketplace. Then we talked about Brandon for like 5 minutes because he had some funny stories about Brandon Franklin.
Really? Yeah. I've seen that boat he was running. That'll be interesting up there on them Great Lakes.
Yeah, that's what I say. He kind of limited himself to that.
Yeah.
Better have a butt pad.
A little boat. He was doing good up there in one of them. So I guess he can handle it. Not me though.
I couldn't do that.
How was the? Where was that last stop at? Where you locked up the AOI?
Sturgeon Bay.
Yeah. How's Sturgeon Bay? How was that?
I mean, it's really, really good. I mean, those fish though, they move like crazy. Like, I mean, I never caught them on the same spot twice. I mean, they would bite in places like insane, just like every drop, and then the next day it wouldn't be within 2 miles. I mean, it was crazy. I've never seen a place they move so much, but they move like crazy out there.
Like miles.
Like miles. Like you just don't find them again. But so you catch them while you can, and then you just hopefully run into them again. When you run into them, it's just like it's phenomenal.
I think I read in the Major League Fishing magazine that you pulled out of the water and drove like an hour and a half during the tournament somewhere else,
yeah,
right?
I was about to ask about that. How clutch was that?
Yeah.
Being able to do that?
Oh, dude. So there was this big, like, kind of peninsula, and I loaded in on the Lake Michigan side. It was one side, and there was tons of fish cruising. I mean, just like crazy amount of fish cruising. And me and Greg Hackney and another guy were fishing back there, and it was just like the first 30 minutes and never saw one, and they were like loaded. Like, I mean, you could just see them everywhere swimming, throw over there and catch them. It was just crazy, and I knew in like 30 minutes, like, I never saw one, and Hackney never caught one. And so I was like, okay, this is not the deal. So I took out that morning, and it was probably about 30 minute drive. So I went to the other side of the peninsula and went out to some deep fish and started fishing out there and catching some pretty quick. So it would have been a long, brutal run. I mean, it probably took me like an hour boat ride to get there, or to actually get over the other side where, I went. So that was nice to be able to move around, driving your truck.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that y'all are able to do that. But that seemed to me like a pretty big gamble. I mean, it was like if you beat Jacob Wheeler, you won, and if he beat you, he won.
Yeah.
So that was, 30, 45 minutes of not fishing could have been.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was like, no, I could either kind of stayed there and just died, really, or, that was tough to do, though, because, yeah, you're driving and you're not fishing. Some tournaments were allowed to do that. Like that one, it's so rough, and, and we didn't take off from the same location just in case if it got up to 20-mile-an-hour winds, which it did a couple of those days. You could put in wherever you wanted to and ease out there, and it kind of saves everybody. Saves your the guy, the official and the camera guys. So that's pretty nice.
Definitely.
So how does that work? Are they the same officials throughout the season? Is there
They
amount?
like 80 different guys, and there's only 40 of us that fish a day. So usually there's like 50 or so that come, and they kind of swap out. But there's quite a few of them, but they do. Yeah, it is really nice to have those guys. They don't they kind of know the ropes and stuff, so it's pretty nice to have them.
How
Same
many
group.
penalties do you typically get in a day?
What's that?
Are you pretty good at, like, have you kind of figured it out, or are you still getting penalties?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, they don't really, they really just kind of, they did that starting off, really just, TV, new people watching it, banging fish around, and it's worked out. When you grab them or flip them or whatever, I mean, I hardly get one anymore, but like starting out, it was like crazy. I mean, they'd flop off I would just swing them, and they'd come off, and it happened a bunch, but
I bet that's a long break you got to sit there. Even if it's just like 2 minutes, like feels like forever, especially after you catch one. Like, you get fired up after you catch one.
Yeah, you got a school fired up, and then you got to wait 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, them smallmouth too. I mean, they're just flopping like crazy, But I mean, yeah, when you grab them, if you land them over the side, it doesn't happen as much. So I try to do that when I can.
So I got a question. I'm sure you've been asked it before, but I haven't heard you answer it.
Probably not.
Your Conroe Classic win. If your boat doesn't break down, do you think you leave that spot before you catch that weight? Or do you think you would have caught that weight regardless?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to answer, but I probably would have. I mean, I'm gonna say I'd have caught the weight. I went there. I fished that spot a lot during that week, and the day prior, the second day I caught a 7 and 2 6s off of it. So I kind of knew what was there still, and I was planning on sitting there all day since I was so far back. I was like 14 something pounds behind, so I was planning on sitting there, for most of the day, because I really didn't have much else because the bite was so tough. So it just happened to be that my boat barely limped there, and I was kind of, I knew I was stuck, but I was happy, with sitting there all day.
Yeah, you made some good money off sitting there all day.
Yeah. That was a clutch time to be sitting on a juice hole.
Oh, yeah.
It was the last day of that tournament.
When you weighed in and they had you in the hot seat, who were you most worried about before?
Oh, that tournament, nobody really had to catch anything. They've been catching 20 pounds a day. I was with Edwin 2 days ago, down at, when he actually asked me the same question because he was catching them so good. He had 20 something days in a row. He was asking me about that tournament. He was like, what did you, how'd it go down and stuff? And he was just curious, just like you are. But, he was catching them so good. He had a huge, 20 a day. And then Ayler was catching them good. And it just got really tough that last day. And they struggled. But Ayler didn't need, but I think, another pound or pound and a half to win. So he just needed one bite. That's all it would be.
Was it like an all day thing, or did it happen real quick? Did you catch all 5 of them back to back to back, or was it
that classic? It was all day. I remember I pulled up there and I fished around. So I just fished one point all day, for pretty much 7 hours, and it was crazy. Those fish would I remember there was a dude up there catfishing or something right on the top of the point, 2 different people. I'm like, are you kidding me? They just pulled up on a pontoon and just sat there on top of it. And, I think I asked him to leave, or another guy that was watching me was telling them what was going on. Hey, can you just come back tomorrow and, throw your chicken livers out or whatever they were doing. But I caught one, 3 something, I think, that morning. And then, about another hour went by and I was just kind of dragging around and caught a 5 and then caught another 5. And, it took all day though. I remember the last probably hour I fished, I caught a couple big ones. So it was an all day thing.
I thought that was a really cool classic. I remember watching that one, and I was just so conflicted on who to root for because I really love Steve Kennedy.
Steve Kennedy.
And I was Jordan Lee is the man.
Flipping that jig too. That was badass.
That was so hype, and
that was cool as hell.
2 back-to-back Auburn guys, first and second place. That's pretty badass.
Yeah,
sure.
Steve had a phenomenal day too. He had the day to win.
I liked watching Steve Kennedy because he's flipping this jig and he's got this 15-year-old Shimano bait caster on the rod, and you're just this is my kind of dude right here.
The green machine.
Yeah, it's the old Corrado, I think.
Yeah, it was the Corrado Bantam.
I remember watching him, and he'd be fighting one. He'd be talking to the spectators oh yeah, it's a good one.
That's the
he
he cracks himself up when he catches it.
He was having a conversation with these 7-pounder on the line, with the people.
Yeah, and it's just out there in the water, and he's like, "Oh, I got a big one on it. I'm gonna let her tire out."
My favorite Bassmaster tournament ever was that Alabama River charge when the Alabama River flooded, and Steve Kennedy's throwing those swim baits, and he's just "Oh, there's another one."
And then that dude got stuck, and he was "Haha, look at him."
It was the dude from Knoxville. I can't remember his name now.
Jared.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that Steve, man. Yeah, that tournament he was jerking on him, but that was funny. Yeah, that was my favorite catch too. When he was just it was just swimming out there. He had a 6-pounder on, whatever it was, just thumbing it. Just got the Bantam. That's just Steve Kennedy.
OG.
Epic.
Yeah,
he's just old school. He does it himself.
Well, we asked you to get back on topic, kind of. We asked you what your greatest memory of fishing in college is. What's your greatest memory in college that's a non-fishing memory?
Oh yeah, that's for sure. One of my buddies that was, he actually fished at Bethel, Zach Parker, and he never went to a college football game. And, we were friends with a lot of other team guys, and they'd come down. I mean, whether they were from Georgia, Alabama, Dustin would, Cannell would come down, all the different places. And Zach, we got to become friends. He fished at Bethel, and I was like, dude, come to a football game, because I don't have that kind of experience. And it was the kick six game.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's badass.
And so he never been to a game. And I was like, dude, come on, this is a big game, And so rushing the field, kick six, all that was epic,
I was in the doorway at Moe's Barbecue when that happened, and they started doing like the champagne shower with Bud Lights through the bar.
I was watching that with my parents. Both of them are Alabama fans. They graduated from Alabama. I think that's the first time they've ever heard me say the F word. I couldn't believe it, dude. That was incredible.
That was an incredible game, but that had to be the most memorable, I would say, moment. That was fun.
That season was just nuts, honestly. Just looking back on the games that season.
Even the Georgia game, man.
Yeah.
A prayer and Jordan Hare. Dude.
And the A&M game was tight
nuts.
because there's like a bunch of fumbles that really changed the way the game went.
Yeah, another cool. Cam Newton. He was when he first got to school there. I don't know if he transferred. I can't really remember. I think he transferred there, and he was like one of the student, in the student center, and nobody knew who he was then or nothing. And I was reading something in the school paper, we had a new quarterback, and he was just sitting over there, and I went to talk to him for 10 minutes, just about football and stuff. And a couple of weeks later, he kind of blew up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That is sick. All right, so I got a couple more questions for you. Kind of just trying to relate these college fishing to professional fishing.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people on our team. I know that's what I'm planning on doing next year. Was fishing, the Opens, fishing the Toyota Series. So what was it like for you transitioning from college to the professional world, fishing the Opens? Was that a pretty big adjustment or not too bad? Just kind of tell me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like when we got to see a lot of different lakes, and fish a lot of different water. And so we kind of knew, we knew how to, the electronics really weren't that big. Everybody was kind of learning it, and we were learning it, through college and stuff, and learn how to drop shot, learn how to, do that kind of stuff. Ledge fishing was pretty new. And we got to go to some lakes doing that. We got to catch spots. We got to catch, do everything. And, it wasn't like it was, I would say now where, everything's just kind of, it's gotten tougher because everybody's getting so good at fishing. And so, I don't know, that first year of the Opens, though, I mean, I had some big time learning experiences. I mean, I struggled, and I think the first tournament I Toho, I'd never been down there before, and I finished 120, 40, something like that. And then the next tournament, I went to Amistad, never been there, and had a fifth or fourth place finish, something like that. And those Opens, they would be I would have a really good tournament, and then I would have one that's just a bomb, So it was kind of I went to St. Clair for the first time, and that was a totally new experience because I'd never been to a smallmouth lake like that, and I finished in the hundreds. So, I mean, it was just kind of, I qualified for the elites that first year, but I fished all the Opens, and I had a lot of tournaments to kind of, learn from. But it's not, it's not too much different than a college tournament. I mean, if you go out and catch them really good, you you're gonna be up there. I mean, you gotta catch them. No matter if it's a college tournament or an open, if you want to do good. So that's kind of how I see it. But
Got to catch them if you want to do good.
you got to catch them if you want to do good.
I like
That's all
that.
it is.
I might
man.
get that tattooed on me.
I know, me too. I'll get a matching tattoo with you.
Let's do it.
Let's all get
Yeah.
the Powerball P on our ass cheeks.
Me
Yeah,
too.
I see it if you do, but that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want to do good, I mean, it's seriously, that's kind of simple as it is. I mean, if you struggle and you're not, if you don't have a good day, I mean, you're probably going to be down the leaderboard.
I really feel like a lot of fishing, like with the way social media is and everything, like sponsors and everything, you go out and catch them, things are going to take care of themselves. You kind of just got to go out there and grind it out and let whatever happens.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure.
But
it's not easy starting out. I mean, sponsor wise or just fishing wise, because I think it is getting harder and there's more people doing it. Like I tried to open down here at Smith just because it's close to the house, and I mean there's 225 boats. I mean, and I couldn't even. I was like way down the list on even getting in. I couldn't get in the thing. I mean, when I fished the opens, dude, I mean, there wasn't any. I mean, there was like 100 boats, maybe
Really?
100. I mean, there'd be 120, 130, but I mean, everybody's wanting to fish bigger tournaments now. So that makes it tougher too. It makes it a lot tougher.
I got a question for you, and it might get you in trouble, might not. But
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna fish the opens. Like, if all goes as planned, I'm gonna fish the opens next year. I'm gonna try and fish all of them. Because I feel like I'd have a better chance at making it through all of them than just fishing a certain division.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, do you see next year's opens being the most difficult opens ever? As in, do you see like some guys from MLF going back to Bass like we're already seeing, or do you think that it's going to stay like it is? I mean, because Justin Atkins and Greg Hackney and some of those guys fished the opens this year. And
Christy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that definitely made it tough for some of the guys trying to qualify this year.
I think a lot of that had to do with the whole they lifted the contract because of the COVID thing, though, right? Because the guys that qualified didn't have to pay that buyout.
Yeah, it was something like that.
That's what I'd heard on a podcast.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think you're right on that. If I wanted to go fish the opens next year or whatever, I guess I could. But no, I don't think it makes it any tougher. I mean, I think that's kind of because there's so many guys out there that are really good. I mean, that may just fish one division of tournaments. It's hard to say that, certain anglers are, going to go or whatever like that. But I think it's tough regardless now. I mean, it was tough then, when I did it. I mean, it wasn't easy by any means because you're going to have those tough days. You're going to have, you have one or two tough days.
For sure.
I mean, that's all it takes to have a tough season to say. So I think it's tough no matter what, if you do it this year, next year. I mean, there's nothing easy about it, it really isn't. I mean, it's just, it's tough getting started and finding your way, in the whole sport, because it's just getting tougher, and so it's not easy, but it's doable. With that being said.
So what do you think about John Cox fishing pretty much every tournament there is to offer this year?
I think it's crazy. I know how hard it is I fished a few more events last year, and then we had a shortened season, and dude, you fish several weeks in a row and it just starts mentally breaking you down. Really, it's just, you're like, I just want to go home for 2 days and cut my grass or whatever, it's, and for him, he's going to try to, I don't know how many tournaments he's going to fish, but
he's going to do all 3 series.
Yeah.
Big Five,
I mean, the tough thing about that, he may win every tournament I wouldn't be surprised, but not having practice, he may just show up to 2 or 3.
He sleeps in practice, so it doesn't wear him down like the
Yeah.
rest of people.
It doesn't. It's hard like that. I mean, but for me, I got to go out there and at least eliminate some water.
Yeah.
Even if I don't catch anything in practice. It's crazy though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he may be a genius for doing it, but my hat's off to him. I backed out on fishing 2 tours. I was, I thought about fishing the pro circuit FLW, but I didn't do it just because it was going to be piled on together. So
yeah,
he's about.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a lot of fishing. I kind of feel like though, like from my experience through college fishing though, like this April, we got a tournament every single weekend, and like when I'm going, I kind of get in a groove where I feel like I just start fishing better. Like, I'm not coming back to Auburn, spending a weekend at Sky Bar or whatever, and like getting out of the groove. It's just constant fishing, and I feel like if you can get in that groove, kind of like he does, probably then
Get some momentum going.
Yeah. You get dialed in.
Yeah, dude.
Your sleep schedule gets right, and you're focused.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, like, fishing a lot. For me, it may not be like tournaments every single week and driving to, that's the tough part. It's not really fishing every week, but it's going from Florida, Oklahoma to South Carolina to Texas to New York to here.
The driving's got to be so freaking annoying.
Yeah, dude. Lots of energy drinks for sure.
But you're right. I mean, fishing a lot. I've always preached that. I mean, like, just going, just fishing a lot. It doesn't hurt. I mean, that's what you're going to do, and you stay in tune, and it helps a lot.
For sure.
So,
Go ahead.
Who is your favorite fisherman growing up? I'm assuming you were like the rest of us weirdos who watch fishing on the weekends instead of cartoons.
I watch it constantly.
Who was your guy growing up on Saturday when the Bassmasters was on ESPN?
I mean, probably like my first memories of like tournaments Iaconelli was obviously big. I mean, I was a fan of his, but I just liked really just watching it, I mean, because we didn't have Bass Live and all that stuff, or any of the live coverage, Major League Fishing's live coverage. So you couldn't ever watch everything live. So it was just one tournament. So I was just like you said, just glued to it. But Iaconelli's probably one guy that I liked watching fish.
Denny Brower was my guy.
Yeah.
Just watching him flip a jig and just destroy bass. I just loved it.
I fell asleep. I was a marshal for Denny Brower, and I fell asleep in his boat for like an hour.
That's tough.
I listened to that podcast the other day where you were talking about that. Was that Straycast?
It may have been.
I remember hearing that not too long ago.
Yeah, anytime Denny Brower's name comes up, I tell that story because it was hilarious.
I heard my buddy fell asleep in your boat when he was a marshal for you at Martin.
Where, Martin?
Chase Herndon.
I can't.
He also gave you a score tracker update on accident.
All I remember, the only person I remember falling asleep like for a long time was at Cayuga one time. I had a kid that fell asleep. I mean, he was like snoring back there. I'm like, gosh, suck. But yeah, it happens.
I've fallen asleep on the boat before.
I remember we marshaled that Lake Martin event, and we had to leave after day 2 and drive straight to Sam Rayburn. That was like my freshman year of fishing.
Jeez.
And Herndon marshaled with us, and he was like, bro, I drew Jordan, and me and Lucas were so mad. We were like, dude, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
So
I
lucky.
remember that. That was a tough tournament. That was a tough tournament for me. But
Oh, yeah.
He said you were like
Tough
letting a
man.
weightless Cinco just sink down in like 50 foot of water.
Nico rig, it wasn't weightless.
He said he thought it was weightless. I was like, oh my God.
I had probably I know it was I had a weight in it.
Okay.
I wasn't that on him.
I was about to say.
Clausen almost won on a Nico rig in that one.
Who?
Luke Clausen.
Yeah, down at the dam.
Yeah.
He pulled up to me in practice. He's like, dude, I can't get bit. What do I need to do? And I'm like, dude, I don't know where really to go, but I'm dropping in a snail weight no weight Cinco, natural shad, dropping it on fish. I'm catching some, I'm doing that. And next thing, next day or whatever, he said, dude, give me some of those Cincos or whatever. I end up freaking almost winning the tournament. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, you owe me big time.
That is the deal out there.
Yeah, that was like the last year I did Bass Live. We're getting back into it this year, but I remember that was the last year I did Bass Live, probably the last tournament, because I had like Jordan Lee, Steve Kennedy,
fishing,
like I had all the guys, and then I just did terrible in that event. But
yeah, dude, Talk stroked him in that one.
Yeah, he really did. He caught him.
What was your favorite lake to fish during the Auburn qualifiers?
That's a good one. Probably the most weight I ever caught in Auburn qualifier was at Middle Pond.
I heard you got the record.
Y'all did one at Middle Pond?
Yeah, at Middle Pond.
We should have
that. I fishing turn around the Middle Pond.
Dude, with the amount of members we have now, Middle Pond would just be boat.
I offered doing a little Middle Pond, Lower Pond shootout. You get to choose.
I want to go to Lower Pond. I haven't been there yet.
Middle Pond is the one one below Martin. Yeah.
Middle Pond's the one below Martin, and then Lower Pond's the one
after Middle Pond.
Last qualifier we had, I think I had 22
at the Middle Pond.
Dang.
On Middle Pond.
Dude, the Middle Pond's got him. But
did you get some spots from Shea Baker?
No, I whooped up on Shea. No, he wasn't there at the time.
Ricky wasn't fishing with him.
No, Ricky would have had 28.
Yeah,
dude, Ricky's
he's a hammer, dude.
Yeah,
hammer.
I was gonna say
that's a forbidden word.
Now that Trip Weldon's retired from Bass, he goes ahead and wins the first tournament back on Martin this weekend. Him and Ben.
Imagine that.
Trip Weldon always wins tournaments on Martin, though.
He doesn't get enough credit.
I remember.
What was that?
What kind of weight did Trip bring in?
I think he brought in like 14 pounds, but it was.
That's good.
That's Martin.
I
That's
remember good 2 summers ago, was when Martin was like on fire.
It was stupid.
Everyone was like, the herring are taking off. It's the new Smith Lake. And me and a buddy of mine, Brendan Holt, caught right at almost 16 pounds.
Yeah, we had 15 in that one.
Yeah, we were like, oh yeah, we're definitely getting our money back. 16 pounds on Martin, and we were like, ended up 6th place. And I'm like,
oh my!
How did we get knocked down so far? I thought we might win.
You were pissed after.
It was like 18, 19, and so we're like last spot in the check. Here comes Trip Weldon, like 20 pounds, all spots, knocked us out of the cut, but.
That's ridiculous.
Dude, yeah, Trip runs that Phoenix. He doesn't get it going too fast. He just rolls down the lake.
He just pulls up on juice.
He's just got it,
straight
man.
Juice.
He's got all the nectar found.
And the funniest thing was, he it wasn't funny, but he had dead fish in that one. So I was like, I mean, if Trip Weldon has dead fish, then sometimes they just die because he knows how to handle the fish. I mean, he's the tournament director.
Yeah,
that's right.
He didn't win the tournament actually. He had the most weight, but he had 3 dead fish.
They had like 20 and a half pounds or something, right? And
they had 20 and ended up weighing like 18 and a half because it was like a half-pound penalty per fish.
Yeah.
Because I would have roasted him for that.
I mean, I don't, you may have a little more clearance going up to Trip than we do.
Yeah, we don't know him like that.
He's held some of your fish before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I heard Martin there I think I heard about that a couple years ago when it was like going off and they said
the top water bite was nuts.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened this year. I really don't know why it wasn't as good. I guess they just died off.
A lot of people are saying the herring population's just like not there anymore.
I don't understand.
I don't know what would happen to cause that, but that's what they're saying.
There's some things.
But that fall bite did not turn on like it did the year before.
Yeah, for sure not.
No, they
them herring are weird, man. They just go so deep sometimes that the spots get down there so deep you can't. They just roam around. They're hard to catch.
Unless you got a champ minnow tied on, they swim to that thing.
No, they run away from it.
I did catch some good ones this year on the champ minnow on Martin. That thing is actually legit.
Yeah.
Which one's the one that's supposed to be the chatterbait trailer?
That's the
deal.
The deal, yeah.
The deal.
But that's just a power bait. Yeah, that one's good.
I feel like that would be a great flipping bait for like the Coosa grass and stuff.
It is
because it just looks like such a natural shad, but you can still bury a hook in it.
Yeah, but that body's so thick. I mean, you gotta.
That's why I like it.
Straight braid, baby.
It's more of a chatterbait for me. But were you using it on a ball hood jig, the Champ Minnow?
Yeah, I
Or
just a Demiki rig.
Yeah.
What head do you use on it when you do it? Do you have a specific one that you like?
I've rotated through some. I hadn't really found the exact one.
That's
I mean, I throw under ball head a lot, 3/16 or a quarter, but I'll throw the Demiki head or I think the BMC one's a good one too.
Yeah, I like that dirty jig one. I like that one a lot.
Do you think the
The
eyes on
the
those
guppy,
Demiki
yeah.
hooks make a difference?
Oh, 4 eyes.
I don't
Because
like it with
anytime
the
you see a
Champ.
Demiki specific hook, it's got these giant eyes. Like, what's the difference between
Yeah.
that and just a jig head that you can drop down?
I don't know. I think that Demiki's got that little belly, so on like their actual armor shad or whatever, it like fits in there good.
Okay.
It kind of stays horizontal in the water.
I've
think that's the most.
I've never picked one up or anything. I don't mess with
Fish
that
Head
deep
Spin.
water
Fish
bite.
Head Spin. They make a sweet Demiki head.
Okay.
It's like the same style that you were talking about with the belly weight, the
Yeah.
kill weight.
I like
Yeah.
those. I like those Champ minnows. Like that. I feel like that 3D printing. They're onto something with that, man. I mean, that's
Yeah,
about as realistic as a design as you can get, honestly.
yeah. I do like that Champ minnow. Another thing I like throwing that on besides the Demiki is that new stealth chatterbait, the
stealth
jackhammer or whatever.
Do you like that?
You do that thing is
You like it for real?
stealth blade.
Yeah.
I haven't bought one,
It's
but
a little
like
weird. I mean, it's not like
3 different times at Academy, I picked one up on accident. I was like, oh wait, that's the wrong chatterbait.
it's weird. I mean,
I read some reviews on Tackle Warehouse that said it was awful.
well,
Yeah,
people
but
expect
I've
it
also
to be
heard
like a
people
jackhammer.
love it.
People
Yeah.
expect it to like rip their
Yeah.
rod, but it's a completely different bait. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
it is. It's more like a.
It's almost like
Like-
a scrounger head.
It is like it's like a scrounger with. It's like a real subtle chatterbait. So like if the water's clear, like I was on Gunnersville and I was throwing it and I was putting the Champ minnow on it and the water's clear. So it's like, too much thump for a jackhammer. They'll eat a swim jig good, but that thing's like really subtle. And I was putting that little Champ minnow on it. It's like real finesse kind of chatterbait.
It's kind of like
it's
I think of it kind of like when you pick up a flat size crankbait. You want just a
Yeah.
little tighter wobble.
Well, Fritz side action.
Yeah, like a frit side. It's like a frit side, but chatterbait.
I'm almost to the point where I only throw flat sides like all year long.
They're fun, dude.
I just like them.
But,
They get 8.
I've never really caught
They-
them on a flat side.
They get 8.
I've never like just gone out and been like, wow, this flat side's working so much better.
Yeah. I was kind of the same way, and I still am but when the water gets cold, it definitely makes a difference. But yeah, I mean, the problem always was throwing a flat side like a shad wrap or I got some Zoom
Yeah.
flat sides, and the problem is like casting them was always like the worst thing about it. And when they came out the frit side, it casts a lot better. So you can hum it like a 1.5 or
for sure.
wherever.
Do you like throwing your flat sided crankbaits on a lower gear ratio?
I don't crank with a low speed.
Neither do I. I keep the trolling motor going too much, and it's just
Dude,
It might kill me, but I feel like
I don't
I feel like the
crank.
bait's not moving.
I don't crank with anything over a 5. I just like to be able to like just reel it as fast as I possibly can. If it's a 6, I won't throw a crankbait on it.
Really.
I mean, I'm like you. I've gotten, I got like the 5s. I got like the Revo winches. And the only thing I really throw that on now is the 10XD or like something that gets down that
You
deep.
have to throw a
'Cause,
low
like,
speed on a 10XD.
I'm trolling down the bank and I can't even catch up with my damn line.
Dude, I'm
And
trying-
It just frustrates the
I'm
hell
trying
out
to
of me,
pick
for real.
up throwing left hand because even the 10XD, I like throwing it on like a 6 or
yeah,
I
I've
like
been
throwing it on a 6. I want to
practicing.
be able to cast it when this hand gets tired, pick up that left hand and be able to go. Because I
I
mean,
like it.
sometimes like this summer on Eufaula, we went out there a good bit, and I mean you could not reel fast enough. And even
No.
Jacob Wheeler said when he went on Pickwick, and he was throwing that DT, he said he couldn't. He said he had one rigged up in practice on a 5 and one on a 6, and he said it was night and day the difference between. Because I mean they're so
Really?
fresh now. I mean you don't want them to see it.
Well, I mean, I reel the crap out of like crazy cranking or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that 6
Maybe I
plus just
need to try
Oh,
this.
it wears you
whole
out.
six.
Yeah.
I've got a 5 that I throw too, just But I mean, it's still like that. They like it moving.
I guess I'll have to check into this.
You're right.
Well, y'all want to take our commercial break real quick?
It's fine with me.
Yeah. You want to take a little break real quick, Jordan?
Let's hear. I want to see these big commercials.
All right.
Oh yeah, we don't really have any commercials yet. But if you do want to advertise, just DM Auburn University Bass team.
Send us a check for $10 million.
Jordan, did you see the post we put up today? The teaser for the podcast.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah, he commented Joe Burrow on it.
My favorite comment was when someone said Bo Jackson. That cracked me up.
Someone said Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, that was funny. I like that a lot. Yeah, Kristen said, you need to comment Tom Brady. I said, I'm not the GOAT. So I had to go Joe Burrow because it was Joe, and I'm Joe too.
Joe
Whatever.
Barber.
Such commented at Coach Brian Harskins, is that you?
Yeah.
The new football coach we got?
Yeah, what do you think about the new coach?
I don't know much about him, but I mean, I'm excited about a new little change, a little mix up, you know.
I'm very excited
I'm all
about just a change in personnel.
I am upset though that T. Will's not with us anymore.
Yeah, dude. Coach T. Will was the GOAT.
Dude, did you ever?
He never went fishing with us though.
Yeah, that was the one thing.
It was all talk.
Coach T. Will, he was like, "Hey, come to my office." Like he posted a video on his Instagram, like you need to buy these guys T-shirts, like they're national champions, whatever. And he was like, "We're going fishing." And I would send him like a text, like a month later, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to go fishing?" A month later, "Hey, when are we going fishing?" A month later, "Hey, Coach T. Will, you still want to go fishing?" And then he'd reply like 5 months after that, like, "Yeah, sorry, man, got caught up." Damn, dude. But
Yeah.
if you're watching this, Coach T. Will, we still want to take you Bassin.
Yeah, wherever you end up, he's a hell of a coach.
Come fishing with the Danglers.
He's definitely a bastard, no doubt. He's ate up with it, but yeah, I'm excited for a change. We'll see what happens. It'll be a little while. We need to get some good recruits.
Yeah, we got to
That's
see
the
how the
only thing.
recruiting trail goes.
He doesn't really have much ties to around here, but
Well, he's known as a really good recruiter, so that's exciting because Gus just really struggled to recruit the personnel that would fit his schemes, and I think that's where a lot of our shortcomings came. So we'll see. I'm excited.
what was that?
You broke
I
up.
said, man, are you, Big Ron?
Yeah, they need you.
I
Man.
know. I need
They
to go
should've
be
hired you.
I need to be the damn center.
Yeah, for sure. Now you need to be
Head
QB.
coach.
The head coach, dude.
Nah,
we need
my
you.
dad coached like D2 football for a little while after he graduated college. My dad played football in college, and he like signed as a free agent in the NFL, but he got hurt. And he
See,
coached,
I knew it.
He coached for a while. I played baseball though.
Yeah.
I was a baseball guy.
Dude, Mike threw like 99 miles an hour. Actually,
It's 80. Then after he has 5 beers, it was 88. And
Yeah, it's just keep going up.
I would just love to see Dirty Mike just trotting down the field with
gas
with a clipboard in his hand, just following.
you could wear a visor pretty well.
I should be like Auburn's version of that redhead that
For Florida State,
the Florida State dude.
Red Lightning.
Yeah.
Red Lightning.
just run up and down the sidelines, act like a maniac.
He gets thirsty. He picks up the Gatorade bottle and just
Just chug.
chugs it. He does his own celebration, his own Gatorade bath.
I'll do
He's
it.
all in.
All right, well, I got to take a piss.
All right.
Do what you gotta
Yeah.
do.
I'll be back, boys.
He's taking the break.
Quick TV timeout.
One eternity later.
We are back. Us, Jay Lee, LFP, and Dirty Mike back here to talk a little bit more about the Auburn Bass team.
We haven't talked enough.
I don't think we have talked enough. I think we have a whole lot more. We'll probably be. What do you
We
think?
could be here all night.
What do you think,
for real.
Jordan? 3-4 more hours?
Yeah, I'm down. I don't have anything to do except sleep.
It can't be worse than those Stray Cast podcasts. Those are like 4 hours long, like legit.
They,
It's like
They
a Joe
really-
Rogan episode.
yeah, those really are a drag out brawl.
Well, the good thing is Jordan's not busy, so
I'll be at work listening to Stray Cast every now and then, and I'm just like, all right, I'm ready for the next episode. And it's only like halfway through.
all right. So let's get to
Yeah.
these questions.
Yeah, we got some questions.
This podcast is going good. Y'all killing it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, we should.
I highly I highly recommend listening to it. You know, if
There
you're
we
still
go.
listening to it halfway, which you're probably not.
Hey, they're all still on the edge of their seats trying to figure out how they're going to win a Revo.
Well, I can promise you we're going to take that little clip of what you just said and just blow it up on social media.
I'm gonna make it my ringtone.
Jay Lee recommends. That's all. I can die now.
Highly recommend.
All right, let's ask some questions.
All right, so this one's kind of a deep question. I don't want to like get you teared up or anything, Jordan. But what does Auburn
Super
University
deep.
mean to you? How has it helped you become a man? How has it shaped you? How has it shaped you as an angler?
An Auburn man is George.
Are you an Auburn man? Do you consider yourself an Auburn man?
He is wearing orange and blue.
Not the Auburn Creed.
Yeah, recite the Auburn Creed for us, please.
Auburn a boy, and I became a man after the 500th time in the Sky Bar.
I love that. I appreciate that answer.
Yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
That's a good ass question.
That's the kind of questions we want answers to.
I didn't, dude. I never sang karaoke. I wasn't man enough there. I mean,
Okay.
I was a backdoor beater. You know, I mean, I was a low.
You were in the boom boom room, huh? Jordan was hanging out in the boom boom room.
He was playing pool. He's taking people's money. That's what he does.
Jordan, my life would be complete.
Hustling.
He's hustling.
This fall, you come to Auburn for a football game. We're singing karaoke, man. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be done this fall. I got one extra semester.
We'll sing that Casey Ashley
So
song.
say
Yeah.
Fisherman, Casey Ashley. We'll do it.
Let's just sing the national anthem. Honestly,
On a Wednesday night.
yeah.
For sure.
Or like
Sure.
10 or like 3:00 in the morning.
I'll call out of work and get in trouble again.
Yeah, we were at karaoke the other night, and Dirty Mike texted his boss. What'd you say?
I was like,
I'm impressed. Y'all go to karaoke and y'all actually sing.
yes.
That's what
We
do.
got one guy on the
When-
team, Chase Munning. He thinks he's Morgan Wallen 2.0. I mean,
When the drinks are flowing, the songs are getting sung. But
I like.
okay, so we had the banquet and we're kind of we're getting after it. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just committing to just calling out. And so I get home that night and I text my boss, hey, been throwing up. I'm just gonna have to miss tomorrow. And in the morning, I wake up, I get a text. He's like, nice, because we had the banquet where I work. So he thought our kitchen got me food poisoning or something.
There you go. It all came together.
Then, not
It came-
3 minutes later, I get a text. Being at Skybar at 1 a.m. probably didn't help your upset stomach. And I mean, I'm telling you, I covered everything. I had no Snapchats, no location, nothing he could tell where I was. He tells me, he goes, yeah, some guy that used to work with me, he recognized you off my Snapchat stories and sent me a picture and said, isn't this your assistant? And so I was snitched on.
Well, we were all wearing suits, and Dirty Mike shows up with a Hawaiian T-shirt on, ready to rock.
Ready to rage.
it's a Canadian tuxedo.
You ever seen Bobby Hill wear a suit in King of the Hill?
I don't think so.
Nah. It don't
No,
happen.
I never saw. Never.
It don't happen.
So Jordan, you kind of danced around the question. What does Auburn University mean to you?
He's getting back to the question. I like this guy.
He's a man with a
I
plan.
mean, dude, honestly, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, Auburn, you know, from the fishing team, I mean, the fishing team was obviously the experience that I remember the most. It wasn't, and it wasn't like, you know, the you know, classes and stuff that, I mean, that's just tough, you know, school tests, you know, struggling in school, you know, just trying to make grades, whatever. I mean, just the bond, just like I see y'all have. I mean, that's where, you know, the memories that I remember the most. And, you know, it flew by really quick. But I mean, then the fishing teams were really what probably for me, you know, it kept me, you know, in school, number one, but just, you know, to this day, I mean, it helped me tremendously just fishing a lot. And, you know, that was kind of the path I wanted to take. But yeah, I mean, it was was a big deal for me. If I didn't go to school, if I didn't go to Auburn, I don't know if I'd, be where I'm at. I mean, that's true because I had a lot of opportunities pop up through college fishing and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was definitely a big deal. And the fishing team was honestly probably, the thing that I loved the most for sure. But to this day, that helped me out the most. It wasn't a certain class or a certain teacher or anything like that. So,
what was your major?
Marketing.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of guys. We got a group me and somebody. We got mostly the engineers that do this, but like someone's struggling with something, other guys will like pitch in to help. So I definitely see where you're coming from.
It's honestly a brotherhood.
It is.
It's a brotherhood. I mean, it doesn't go away either. I mean, like I still stay in contact with, several guys, and like you said, man, it doesn't go away either after even how many ever years it's been since I've been out. But
hey, man, if you want some pointers, I'll teach you how to make it last a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I heard Jordan was coming back for his master's.
Get that PhD.
He has 6 years of eligibility FLW, so FLW.
Hey, you got to take full advantage, man.
For sure.
You're not missing a whole lot.
What would you say separated Auburn apart from other schools? Like you obviously picked to come to Auburn when you could have gone to Bethel. You could have gone to some of these other powerhouses. What sets Auburn apart?
I mean, when I went there, it was honestly just the people that were there that not only like reached out to me. I saw they were doing really well, and I was, my dad went to Auburn. I was always an Auburn fan growing up, so it's kind of where I wanted to go. But I think what separates it is just the lakes too, and we got a lot of different options down there, and the lakes we fish, and I think that helped out a lot. Alabama in general. It's a great place to fish, and you learn a lot. You can fish year round. A lot of guys don't have that.
I got to say, coming from Florida, it has been a challenge figuring out how to fish up here because you can't just go flip grass.
No.
And so, I really feel like I never had a boat in Florida. I always fished as a co-angler. I fished in a draw club. But, learning how to fish up here is really, widened the way I fish. And so, I think I'm already a better fisherman than I was 3 years ago, substantially better than I was 3 years ago, just because I've had to diversify the way I do fish.
We gotta start a stray cast thing, where we drink every time Mike
Florida
mentions Florida.
You know what?
Pretty good.
He just banged
Flipping
fish.
Flipping or Florida? Is that when you got to do that?
Yeah, flipping or Florida.
I like to dig.
He acts like he's not.
He's
acts like he's not been in Alabama for 10 years. How long you been in the state?
I moved here in January of 2015.
January 2015. That's 6 years. You got time.
Yeah, that's 6 years.
That's 6 years.
I had to do some math on
I
that.
think podcast just needs to be
I was 13.
Roast Dirty Mike. I like that.
The next episode, we're gonna deep dive into the history of Dirty Mike. He's like the Great
That would-
Gatsby.
I think y'all should do a whole episode on Florida fishing versus Alabama / Dirty Mike. Just the whole thing. I think it'd go viral.
We can go through old Facebook and Instagram posts. I might get a girlfriend out of the thing if they see what I used to look like.
You pulled a little Alabama magic down there on Kissimmee or Toho with the brush piles. And
the heavy hitters, baby.
I heard you were fishing those state dropped community brush piles. Is that true?
They're probably communities now.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Okay.
You can't win a tournament off community.
Okay,
It was not a tournament
it
like
was
that.
It was ISO juice brush.
All right, because I
It's
was talking to Garrett, and Garrett was like, I don't know how he was catching those fish on them state drop piles.
He don't need to know. Just let it be a mystery. Yeah, I caught him off community stuff. They were marked by a buoy that said fish here.
Okay.
I will say though, that video that you posted the other day on Instagram was one of the most badass videos I've ever seen.
Which
I
one?
didn't see it.
He hooks up with this fish and it almost jerks the rod out of his hand.
Was it the
And then
heritage
he's
fish?
fighting it and it jumps and he's like, "Oh my god, baby, this could be 50 G's." Like the fish jumps and that's the one thing he says. This could be 50 G's.
Was it the heritage fish?
I don't know. I don't know which one
No.
it was.
Was it the heritage fish? That one was sweet.
Yeah, that was sweet. No, that one paid.
He probably doesn't want to talk about
he was
that.
talking about. It was 8.15, but it didn't win. Michael Neal caught a 9-pounder.
Yeah, he did. He got you by an ounce.
Yeah, but yeah, that was dope. Yeah, it jumped like I had a fish like go under the boat and jump like 100 yards out, but that one did. So he was hot.
Max set? Had to have been.
Cranking 2.5.
That's sweet.
He's so full of crap. Look at him.
I would lie on here like I got a lot to lie about.
You sandbagging on the dang podcast?
2.5. Why would I lie?
Jordan, this is something that people want to know. How long you been on the Zen train?
The Zoom train?
The Zen.
train.
ZYN.
Oh. Probably, I quit dipping probably about a year. No, yeah, about this last year. I started doing these Zens because I was lip was just falling off. So I tried to cut back a little bit.
It's
So
hard,
I've
man.
started doing it.
What's that movie with that like Western movie where that dude has like the hole in his mouth? You know, he like drinks like whiskey and it just falls out the side of his face. You remember that movie?
I don't. And I like Western movies.
Well, if
It
it ever
was
gets
a new movie.
well, if it ever gets that bad, you need to visit my dad. Alabama Periodontist.
Hey, no free shout outs. We're gonna cut that out.
He pays
I like-
for he pays for enough of my stuff to for me to give him a shout
I
out on the
like-
podcast.
It's Birmingham too, so it's not too
He's
far
had
from
a couple
you.
pros come in there. He's had Wes Logan, Alex Davis. I've met them all. I used to work there in high school. Did a little co-op, and they
So Zen is Zen gonna kill me in the end game?
I don't know. I don't know that he knows what Zen is.
I think Zen's probably the healthiest option.
I'd
right now,
imagine it's
honestly.
better.
I mean,
It's gotta be.
Did you ever try this like Smoky Mountain dip?
Yeah, I hated it.
It was
Yeah.
the worst.
Dude, that
like,
stuff is awful.
You put a dip in and you just feel like you're soaking cancer into your freaking gum. It just felt so wrong.
What are you talking about?
The Smoky Mountain, it was like,
Does it have nicotine in it?
no, it's just like organic plant matter that's not tobacco.
Dude, I tried the Cowboy Coffee Chew. You ever had that?
I've seen it. I haven't
God,
tried
it is awful.
Really?
It'll get you probably more addicted to
Caffeine?
than you ever were addicted to nicotine.
Talking about
Okay.
won the heavy hitters. That was sweet.
If
That
there-
was what was the best day of fishing you had this year? Was it the Eufaula or was it the heavy hitters?
It was probably you follow, man. I mean, that was epic. That was like,
That was
best-
unreal.
I mean, that was
What'd your
that was
best five go?
It was like 33, I think.
Yeah.
Not
His
to
best
answer for him,
five?
but
Yeah.
I definitely know the answer to that.
I
yeah,
remember
it's 30,
seeing
30
Tom Brubaker shared it on Facebook with the old Gladiator quote, and it was like Jordan's best five was like 33, and he was like, "Are you not entertained?" Thought
Yeah,
that
it
was
wasn't
so
that-
funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was an 8, 7, 2 8s. I think 2 8s and 2 6 high 6s. I mean, that was epic. That was the best day I've had ever.
That was ridiculous. I mean, that shows you how.
Yeah, you had 2 tournaments this year, right? I mean, that Eufaula tournament and also the Toho tournament where you just like caught 1 or 2 fish the first day and you ended up winning the whole round based off of your second day's weight.
Snuck in there and won it.
Just advanced to the 4th day just by changing, adapting, realizing where you went wrong and adjusting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
that-
about that.
That Toho tournament. I mean, I kind of figured out that brush deal the last day of practice, or the second day of practice. It's all we get. But yeah, that one I kind of held back a little bit. That's like the first tournament ever where I just didn't really just go out and just try to braid them.
Hit it, swing for the fences.
Yeah, found brush, and I kept looking and stuff like that, and kept finding some more good stuff. And it was pretty special though that last day. I mean, it was 3-pound minimum, and so we couldn't catch anything or couldn't keep anything under 3 pounds. And it was just like, caught some couple 6s and 7, couple of 5s in there. I mean, that was a good day. It was a big day. So yeah, there was a couple days though, like you said. I mean, that was better than. But going to those lakes too, I mean, that have the potential. I mean, sometimes, I mean, most times you go to lakes, I mean, that you don't have that potential, but there, there was definitely that potential out there to catch high 20s. So
yeah, the schedules this year for both the Bassin and MLF were, I mean, they were set up for some big fish this year. It was fun to watch.
I just when I go to a lake that I know I have the chance of catching a big bag.
Florida.
No, I was like referring more to like Eufaula versus Lake Martin, honestly. Like I just feel way more motivated just to fish my butt off at Eufaula than I do at Martin. Like, I don't know, I just fish differently. I just like being on a lake where I know I can catch a 25-pound bag. Not easily, but it's super doable versus Martin. 17 pounds is like a big bag there. And so I don't know. I just really like mentally fishing a lake that has that potential.
So Jordan, do you like the grinder events or the shootout events better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just kind of depends. If you're catching them in a grinder event, I mean, you're going to do really well. But typically, I've done better on the tournaments that. I mean, sometimes it's sometimes a grinder tournament. I mean, if you catch 5 and you get a lucky bite or 2, I mean, you're going to be up there. But I mean, it's more fun for to go out and know you're going to catch fish. I mean, there's been a lot of tournaments going into it that I don't know if I'm going to even get a bite or where my first bite's going to be. And then some tournaments, those better tournaments, hey, I got a spot. I got 3-4 bites off this place. I'm probably going to get bit off of it. So, I mean, it's more fun and to go out, when you're going to get bit.
All right, let's do a little questionnaire about our upcoming derby.
All right, I got one more question though about the MLF.
Which upcoming derby?
That I haven't heard about.
Harris Chain.
Okay.
So like none of our tournaments are set up the same way that the MLF is at the Bass Pro Tour. The biggest thing that I want to know is when you have half the field fish one day, half the field fish the next day. That day off, what is that like? Because like I like if you have the first day off and you're sitting there rigging it up, like what's it like? How often do you checking your phone to see how they're catching them, or like are you even allowed to do any of that, or how does that work?
Yeah, you're allowed to look and see at least the weights and stuff, and normally they're like, oh my gosh, they're smoking them. Like
yeah, I bet
it's
that's
always
intimidating.
you expect. Like you follow. I mean, it was extremely tough. I mean, I caught 3 fish and 2 fish and made the cut. But the first day I look at it and I remember Chris Lane's got 5 or Todd Faircloth's got 4 for 22 or something.
They were smoking them in those mats in that first morning. It was nuts.
And obviously, you don't know where they're at. You can't look where they're at, stuff like that. You look at the score tracker. And you see that, and it's kind of disheartening because you're like, oh my gosh, they're freaking obliterating them. But, fishing the second day, you may have found the same fish as the guy the first day, and you may get there. And, I did that in a bed fishing tournament at Lake Fork, lined up in this pocket. And, I go out and they're not there, and you got to kind of adjust. And that's the downside to that is – but it's the same for everybody, obviously. But yeah, it can. It definitely, when you see how much they caught, I mean, Lucas caught 200 pounds of smallmouth at Sturgeon Bay.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
yeah, that's nuts.
And is it?
Yeah.
And like, say that you're like in practice, you see a guy and he's in a different group than you, and you go and you check score tracker and he's lighting them up. You're like, well, there goes my fish, or like all that stuff.
Well, let me piggyback off that. So it's your day off. You check score tracker. Like you said, Chris Lane was catching them. Did you just like automatically assume Chris Lane was like flipping because that's just what he does? Or do you kind of just like think open-minded about that, about what that angler who's catching them is doing?
You kind of got to disregard it because they can be doing anything, number one. But, like, you know, they were in a special place with the water gushing out of it. And,
Right.
you know, I fished the same place and just the water wasn't coming out. So, I mean, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you just kind of got to just go about it and not really let it affect you. But it does tell you how good, or, you know, the cut line, that's what you look at. It's like, okay, how tough is it? And that kind of gives you the mindset. Not really the leaderboard, but the top of the guys, but the bottom guys. That kind of tells you the story.
Yeah, you almost have to just look at the weights and not the names.
And since you are an MLF guy, if I could just make one observation, I would love to see, like on the score tracker, just what the best 5 weigh.
Me too.
Just so I can relate it to the way the tournaments we get to fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a good question going
It shows the biggest fish. I would just like to see what the 5 biggest that you would take to the weigh-in
Yeah,
would
I want to
weigh.
know, like,
Yeah.
Jacob Wheeler. I mean, he crushed him and when he won, you follow it. But then, like, people were like, oh, he's catching little ones. I was like, no, he's catching big ones too. It's just like you don't see it because, like, Jordan Lee caught 6 fish for 37 pounds or whatever it was, and then you see Jacob's got whatever weight he has with 15 fish. You're like, oh, that's not a lot, but he's still catching
3
I mean,
pounders.
he's still catching 3 pound average, and his best 5 probably went close to in the 20s. Probably, I would say.
How much has it changed your approach, like, overall to tournament fishing? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah. So, like, the biggest 5 deal, they did that the first couple tournaments. I don't know, you know, it's not really my call.
Right.
It did to exactly why they had it on there and they took it off. And I think I don't really know the answer to that. I mean, I'm with you. I think, you know, being able to relate to a lot of the hardcore tournament anglers is important. And maybe, you know, who knows? It's kind of one of those things. Yeah, you don't really know if you look at the number of fish, what the guys' best 5 are, and that can, you know, that kind of, for some people like y'all, I mean, and a lot of tournament anglers, that's definitely important. So I hear you on that. I don't know the answer to that, but as far as, like, you know, MLF versus Bassin, you know, the changing your approach, you know, catching 2 pound plus fish, you don't really know. I mean, I think y'all know, like, you go out on Lake Jordan or Harding, you know, if you catch 15 fish or whatever on Harding, probably most of those fish are going to be under 2 pounds. You may catch some over 2 pounds, but it doesn't really change your approach because you're trying to just figure out a way to catch fish. And, you know, if you get a couple bigger fish along the way, that's obviously what you're looking for. So it doesn't really change your approach as far as, you know, finding the good stuff, because, you know, if you catch bigger fish, obviously you don't have to catch as many, and you can't really just go out and just catch 2 pounders at will on really 90 lakes.
I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that, because, like, I've had the opportunity to fish 2 of those college MLF events, and I felt like I honestly didn't really approach those any differently than I would approach a normal tournament. Like,
You still got to catch fish.
yeah, like, you still got to catch them. Like, we fished the Iron Bowl event versus UNA and Alabama on Gunnersville, and Auburn ended up taking home the team title on that one. And it was just like we were still kind of doing the same thing that we normally would do, fishing for 5. And then we went up to Wisconsin and got the Red Crest title up there as a team. But I will say that format, man, like, we obviously didn't have marshals. We didn't have, like, people weighing our fish, and we had to do it ourselves, weigh it, take a picture, write it down, put it in the app. But, like, I mean, we'd be fishing, and I'd be like, hey, what's the score tracker update? Like, we'd be, like, checking. I mean, we'd go to first, and then these like UW lacrosse guys would go to first, and, like, we'd just constantly be battling. And, like, that was addicting, man. Like, that was so exciting, seeing what other people have. It totally changes your approach. Is like, to where you might just like, okay, they're not biting right here, but they might pick up, versus like, they're not biting here, we have to leave. Like, you know, it's a cool concept for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's different, but at the same time, it's not really just I guess all perspective, you know, like looking at the format and, you know, 5 fish versus as many fish as you can catch. I hate the term, you know, little fish, because, you know, 2 pounds, when they changed that, we've only had 2 years of it. And, you know, this year was it was totally different, because, you know, 2 pounds, just that's a pretty good fish. And, you know, as far as, you know, Okeechobee this year, I caught several fish and I couldn't even keep them. And I ended up zeroing, but, the first day, but, you know, I couldn't weigh those 1.5 pound, 1.75 pound fish. So it's just the way you look at it. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it's pretty cool seeing what other people have in a tournament day.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like, I can see how people can like look at it and be like, oh, you know, they're catching small fish, but like, and that's kind of honestly how I felt about it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of how I felt about it until I fished one of those events, and I was like, wow, like this format is pretty cool. Like, honestly, it made it way more competitive to me. Like, even if you weren't doing that well, like at Gunnersville, I think we came in like 12th. We picked out this dude, like I'm not gonna say names, but like we just had a personal nemesis. Like, this guy, we just did not like this guy. And we were battling out 11th place. And like, we would go to 11th, and then he would catch one, we'd go to 12th. And it was like, God, we got to get to 11th. Like, it was exciting, dude. Like, it's pretty cool. I mean,
I haven't fished that format, so I don't have the same experience Logan has. And so a lot of it, I still see it as like, it's a small fish thing. But to win, it's at the end of the day, it's still a tournament. You still got to catch the most big fish. You still got to put yourself in that position to even compete. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're still fishing against 50 or 80 of the best guys in the world.
For sure.
I mean, even if you're winning with 2-pounders, you got to catch more 2-pounders than the other guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's just not easy.
At the end of the day, it's still a fierce competition.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really perspective. I mean, like, a tournament hadn't been won, you know, with, you know, I've fished them personally, and, you know, it's hard to see from the outside, I guess, because you're just looking at the weights and you're looking at, but once you're in it, you kind of, you know, what the end result is. And it's just, you're not winning a professional tournament catching, you know, your best 5 weighing 15 pounds. I mean,
Exactly.
it ain't happening. I mean, you know, at Toho, I made, you know, 5 fish. I could have broke 100 pounds, you know, for 4 days or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't even know what my weight was, but I mean, it was, you know, 23, 25, 27, whatever it was. But you don't see that. And it can kind of, I guess it kind of change your perspective on it when you're fishing it. But the 1 pound to 2 pound was a big jump. But,
I
you know,
like
it's
that.
a lot of people don't.
I like that too.
Still, you know, a lot of people don't see that or whatever, and it's just one of those. It's just a different perspective. Is really all it comes down to. But yeah, I mean, I still love 5 fish and all that too. I mean, I fish a lot of tournaments. So
I will say, Wheeler's probably the only person in history that's won a tournament on Eufaula with mostly spotted bass.
I don't think he had mostly spotted bass. Though.
No,
he
had all
those spinnerbait fish were spots.
That's what I was trying to say.
Those spinnerbait fish were spots.
He was catching spots, but I think that's what like everyone like keyed in on. They saw that like I guess MLF just like posted like a couple of highlights where he was catching.
Well, I think they just put a camera boat on him when he was.
And so
like,
everyone's like, "Oh my
out.
gosh, he's winning Eufaula with spots." Dude. Like that's not a big fish, but then he still caught plenty of big ones.
I will say though, on Eufaula this year, I got on some offshore deals.
There's
like
some
just
big spots out there now.
Some humps, some stuff down the lake, and I could sit there and catch a 2+ pound spotted bass, 15 casts in a row on a football jig. Like, I'm not kidding. In our like qualifier or whatever,
Yeah.
I caught a 3-pound spot like on my second to last cast. We were all the way at the dam, and like I didn't really know how long it took to run back to
Lake Point.
Lake Point.
Yeah.
And I ended up probably costing us the tournament. I would rather get back on time because it was a tough derby. And we had like 11 pounds, throw out there with a football jig. I caught like a 3-pound spot.
There's some big
That's
spots.
a big spot for you.
I'm worried Eufaula's going to turn into a dang spotted
But
bass lake.
next cast, I caught a 5.5-pound head.
Yeah.
And like they just get together out there.
They
Like,
do.
They
Those
really do.
those offshore fish, I feel like they just
And we had to leave after
relate
that.
differently.
It's just places that they feed at, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
there's there's feeding fish are always going to be mixed together. You'll have catfish in those same
The
spots,
more
too.
and more I fish up here, the more I like am really like starting to believe
Florida.
that there's just largemouth that just live deep, and there's just spots that live deep, and they never go shallow. Like they spawn deep and they just stay deep all year long. And I'm really starting to just believe that because the fish should be getting to the bank right now, and I'm catching them deep. And I just feel like that's weird, especially for me who doesn't ever fish deep. I'm catching them deep better than I'm catching them shallow.
This may be a crazy opinion. I'm just going to throw this out there because we're a little off topic. But 2 years ago, it didn't really happen this year because it was cold and it was hot and it was cold. 2 years ago, I firmly believe there was a wave of fish that spawned in the fall. I really do.
It happens
It happens.
in my.
You think
It
that's
happens
true?
in the motherland all the time.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think the fall sets up the same that the spring does. It's just cooling. But if it stays warm long enough, I think those fish will pull up and spawn twice a year.
Okeechobee's notorious for that fall spawn it starts in like October. They start.
But that's like the normal spawn down there, though.
To me, it's the time of day, dude. I think when the fish know how much daylight there is and there's a certain time of day.
Okay, Kyle
Yeah.
Walter.
If the moon cycle lines up right and the temperature's right, I think they'll spawn twice a year.
They get in those shallow haunts.
They're going to be. I mean,
I like
shallow
that.
haunts.
I like that.
That's a hot take right there.
That is a hot take. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, it's something that maybe
Let's
we
get
should,
into.
we should put
We
in
need to
public.
spend a whole episode just getting into bass fishing theory.
We need to get Jake Maddox on for that one.
He has nothing else in his head except
Yeah, dude. He'll tell you about that.
Carson's
Avery
brother. Carson's brother is so ate up. He's got like books for each part of the year where he just takes notes on his fishing trips. I respect the hell out of it.
I respect that too.
This dude is like ate the hell up with bass fishing.
I don't. It's probably an excuse. Honestly, it is an excuse, but I really just don't have the time to sit down and write down in my notebook.
There's one
the
time-
day after the tournament,
There's one
this is what I
time-
did right. This is what I did wrong.
But Jake's
Water
like,
temperature was this. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Dude,
Jake's like,
there's-
I'll go fishing 3 times a week, and Jake be like, dude, what's the deal? You getting out of fishing or something? You've only gone 3 times this week. Like,
There's one
I've had
time.
class,
There was one time we left Skybar at like 3 a.m. We go back to Jake's house. He just starts reading us his bass fishing notes.
I love it.
That's a great story.
It was between he's
Great
reading bass fishing notes and doing stand-up comedy.
He's
Low and rest.
What a night to be alive.
So basically, what we got out of this podcast is Jordan Lee's gonna come sing karaoke with us.
Yes, it's happening.
That's the biggest thing.
Happening. It depends on. I guess what night's karaoke night?
They do it every night except like Thursday. Do they do it Thursday?
It's better when there's nobody there. Honestly,
Yeah, like Tuesday and
like-
Wednesday are the
Let's
nights.
plan on a Tuesday.
Yeah. When we went on Tuesday after that banquet, like it was like probably 20 of us. And
We were deep.
We were rolling.
A random day to get COVID.
Yeah. Hey, we all got the antibodies
Yeah,
now.
we are. One thing about us, we are loaded with the antibodies.
We got the natural vaccine.
Yeah.
We got
I hear
Speaking
ya.
of Jake Maddox,
we decided to get that taken care of early.
Yeah.
I
So
like it.
I got a question. This is one of the last ones I got. If you could
All
go
right.
back to your days at Auburn, would you change anything about it? Would you change your approach to school, fishing?
anything.
Is there anything you regret?
Zero regrets.
No
I
All
like
in.
regrets?
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
No
All in.
rats right here.
What's that?
I said you got the no regrets tattoo right here.
No regrets, and then all in under it, right on my chest.
I like
No,
it.
no, I really wouldn't. I mean, honestly, I had a great time. It goes by too quick, but I had a lot of fun, and I don't think any of us would definitely change. I wouldn't change anything about it. So y'all look like y'all were.
Would you
y'all
change anything if you were in his seat?
Definitely not.
2 classics.
I would probably go back and change it and be like, I won the classic.
I want to be
bracket
more like
2 years
Jordan Lee.
I would have stayed if I could have, and if it was like meant to be, I would have stayed another year. But it was time. But I didn't
It's
regret.
never too
anything.
late.
I'm telling
when you win the classic bracket, you get the opens paid for the following year, don't you?
I got that year. I think it was 3 tournaments, so I got 3 of them paid
So
for.
you got
I think
one-
now.
So you got like one division or whatever. paid
Yeah,
for.
that's
Pretty
right.
much.
I got the secret figured out. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. If any college guys are listening to this, 4.5 years is the move, because Bass lets you fish for 5. All you got to do is go for an extra semester to gain eligibility. So next spring, I'm gonna be no class, fishing the
Yep.
opens,
But you get to fish.
but then I can go fish college, and I don't even have
Yep.
to worry about class. Like, I'm gonna go practice for a month. Honestly, I'm just kidding, but that's the move. For
I
real.
mean, that's kind of what I'm doing, except I'm working a lot, but I'm not in class this semester. So in the time off I do get,
go
just
Bassin.
dangling.
Yeah,
I'm
dangling,
dangling, son.
it.
Dangle. That's my only. Yeah, the only thing I would just stay maybe a little bit longer because but that's it.
I would stay here for the rest of my life if I could, honestly.
I really
I love college, dude.
like not even just college. Like I like being up here. It's
Yeah.
way better than Florida. Fishing in
There it
Florida.
goes again.
Fishing
take
in
a drink.
Florida is ass.
Florida.
He said fishing.
You
in
catch
Florida.
5 fish in Florida in a day, you're doing pretty good.
That's not true.
Dude,
It's 100% true.
Not on Tahoe.
not on
All right.
Not on Toho in the spring, but if you have to fish Toho like
In-
May
in-
through October,
In June.
Dude, those fish they metabolize it way quicker the hotter it
it's
gets.
so
Hey, they
bad.
spawn 3 times a year down there.
It's so
It wasn't.
bad.
It wasn't that bad. Come on.
I mean, what he
It wasn't that bad. I fished a derby down there in June. It wasn't horrible.
I was also a co-angler.
Dirty,
so
Dirty Mike, all he talks about is Florida, and then he finally fishes Seminole,
I hate Seminole.
and
It's not a Florida lake.
it's Florida.
It's 100% not a Florida lake.
I had
strain.
I had to get a Florida.
Florida
license
lakes are
when I
not
fished.
rivers.
All right, Jordan, we've got our next derby coming up on the Harris chain. We had an endeavor down there in October. Didn't go so well for the Auburn University bass team. A little struggle there, a little adaptation. So Florida Bassin, what would you say? I feel like Florida and Texas are kind of their own animals. Would y'all disagree?
No,
Like,
they definitely are.
Texas fishing is Texas fishing. Florida fishing is kind of its own deal. And then there's the rest of the country. And then there's northern. But
Speaking on that, I saw a clip. Jordan Lee was like talking about fishing chatterbaits. He's doing it was a Bass University seminar, and he's talking about like anytime you're outside of Florida, like you need dirty water to throw the chatterbait, but when you're in Florida, you almost need like more clear water. Like a lot of people don't talk about like water clarity issues in Florida, but that's such a big thing, and I think it gets overlooked a lot. And I really appreciated the way you covered that in that little clip I listened to.
I like that. Yeah.
you pay for
That's
that?
that's
No,
that's
it was just like a clip on you. It's like one of the shortened clips where they like highlight it, trying to get you to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it, but
They always cut it off at the juice, dude.
yeah,
The
but,
Bassin.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is such good info. Oh, dang it.
yeah.
Just got to subscribe.
But he
You gotta
just
subscribe.
even in that little clip, he touched on something that doesn't like
Right.
doesn't get covered a whole lot, and people don't realize.
But Florida Bassin, if you had 3 tips for Florida Bassin, what would it be?
Well, like he said, like Dirty Mike said, the clear water is definitely usually a pretty big key. When it's dirtier, they just don't seem to, fire as
They
good.
hate it.
Hydrilla is key. Typically got to have hydrilla. I mean, when you don't have hydrilla, they're puking up their liquor. But I mean, it's true. I mean, hydrilla's, it cleans the water. Fish just love it. And so you have to usually have hydrilla around. If you don't have hydrilla around, the other key is, I guess, just, finding where they're going to spawn. I mean, typically either from January right now till May, or not May, probably late March. That's when they're really spawning the hardest. So, you got to sometimes fish slow and know when to, drag a worm and know when to throw a chatterbait. But
you like fishing the pads when they're getting shallow in Florida?
On the Harris chain, I do. Harris chain's got a lot of pads, and they spawn around those pad stems a lot. Caught my biggest fish ever in a tournament in the open down there. It was 9.5. Caught out of pads.
Hell yeah.
Texas rig.
Yes, sir.
When you go to Toho, do you stay in Toho or do you lock down? Or
Usually lock down. I usually lock down to Kissimmee. This year I didn't. It was in June, and I thought maybe I could find them offshore on Toho because it's usually a better offshore lake.
That hydrilla is so much better on Toho.
Yeah. It used not to be when I first started going down there. Wasn't a blade of it. I mean, there was a little bit, but not much. But Kissimmee's got better, pads when they're spawning good. But it just depends. But that's kind of the keys down there.
We went to Toho one time.
You and Lucas?
Yeah,
I've heard about this.
We went to Toho one time. I think it was senior year of high school. It was me and my partner, then Lucas Lindsay, and we tried to convince our parents, like, we do not want to go to Disney World. Like, we don't want to go to Disney World. Like, I've been there, done that when I was like 10. It was pretty cool then. I want to go Bassin. I'm going to Orlando, the bass capital of Florida, and just pull my boat down there, set us free. We'll save big time money on Disney World tickets. We'll just spend $5 at the ramp to put in. And my dad was not big on pulling the boat through Orlando traffic. I don't blame him because it's terrible. But
bad.
He said, "All right, the last day we'll put you guys out with a guide instead of going to Disney World with us." So the last day, we're so excited. We brought all our rods down there, like, we're going to go out with this guide. It's going to be incredible. Toho, like, early spring. Like, I think it was February. It was just like, or spring break. It was like February, March. It was going to be so gas.
Juice time.
Yeah. And so we go out with this dude, and I'm not going to say his name just because, like, I'm not going to do that to him. But basically, I mean, I'm trying to go there and catch fish on a swim jig, on a frog, flipping. Like, I don't want to go throw a damn shiner and catch a 10-pounder. Like, that doesn't count. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't. And he was a big live bait guy. So he's like, well, since you guys didn't want me to bring any shiners, like, I guess we'll start here or whatever. So we start on this one place, almost get shot by duck hunters. We ended up catching 3 fish all day. All 3 of them came out of 15-plus foot of water.
On a shiner?
No. I caught 1 fish out of a brush pile on a big worm. The guide caught one on a crankbait on a point, and I think Lucas caught one off of a ledge. It was like, dude, we're on Toho in February. But
I think in all the tournaments I've fished on that chain, I've fished in Toho once.
that's the only place I've ever been.
Always go to
only
Kissimmee.
time I've ever been there.
I've always gone to Kissimmee with
I'm thinking our time down in
buddies.
Florida is going to be a good time that we get a discount on Berkeley Accent Generals, because it seems like every tournament you throw, a Cinco style bait is the deal.
Does Berkeley have a black with a blue tip?
It's probably sold out right now.
It's probably but
It's probably out of stock.
I am excited to get some generals to go down there.
I bet when Jordan logs into Berkeley, nothing's out of stock.
Yeah, oh yeah. He just puts in Jay Lee.
Because he buys it all.
He's
dude.
got the cheat code.
Yeah.
That's why it's out of stock. It's all in Jordan's basement.
They do
some,
down there.
See, when we log into our team account for Berkeley, everything's out of stock. And so it's like, we're trying to buy all this stuff, but we can't buy anything.
These Auburn kids, I'm going to just leave this whole page out of stock. That's what they think.
That's what they say.
they know we already bought it all, honestly.
Yeah, maybe.
I got a freaking pile of some June bug.
Logan
generals,
bought it
dude.
all.
Yeah, I bought it all, honestly.
Dude, my favorite thing from the order was I got, between me and my brother, we got 4 2,000 yard spools of 100% dry lean.
There, you can't beat
we're
that.
We're gonna have fresh line all year long, dude. And good
Yeah,
subs,
you're gonna
dude.
be straight.
That's what I'm excited about. We got 12, 15, 17, and 20, dude. We are set.
Did you get some Jordan Lee X9 braid?
No, actually, I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, that was in the bottom of his list.
Which braid are you using?
They don't
to
sell
flip?
in a 2,000-yard spool. I mean,
They
You
do,
have-
though. They do.
do they?
Yeah.
They
Dang.
didn't look hard enough.
Yeah.
Ain't
Jordan,
looking
which
hard
braid are you using to flip? The X9 or X5?
X9,
Okay.
X950
enough. Next
for
question.
65.
You use X9 for everything?
Yeah, I use it for everything except spinning.
Okay.
You use X5 for spinning?
X5 spinning.
Really? You don't even use the Jordan Lee X9?
I use the Jordan Lee X5.
X5.
Oh.
He's got two.
That's true.
Is the X5 the more smooth or the more coarse?
It's
Just
more
the
coarse.
strands, right?
It's less
X9.
strands.
X9's the smooth. X5's the rougher.
So why do you do that? Why do you use the X5 on spinning poles?
I like the X5 because it cinches the knot a little bit better. That smooth braid sometimes on the FG, which not on FG really, but it's personal preference, you know. But the smooth stuff, some guys like it on their spinning rods, but I like the 5 usually because the knot's a little bit better.
You just like the sound it makes through the guides when they pull drag.
Yeah, I do. That's addicting.
He likes to say, "This fish could be 50 G's."
Yeah,
I've
that
never heard
wasn't-
anybody say anything like that before. That was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
That's a dang statement.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, there's not many other tournaments that you have one fish that
Yeah.
can mean that
It's
much.
worth 50
That
G's.
was
I did.
one of the most badass things I've ever watched.
That's one of the best things
like-
that I liked about MLF is just doing where the big fish means so much.
Yeah.
Like that's
The
badass.
heavy hitters,
Yeah,
that
Those
shit's
are-
fucking.
yeah, those are.
that's badass. It's
That's
gas.
cool, yeah.
Old gas pack right there.
Yeah, that was fun.
I do wish, when you talk to your boys at MLF, I do wish the TV shows were. I don't know how to watch them.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know how to
I
watch
mean-
the TV shows. Like they're not like they post all the clips, which are cool because you get like way more clips than you would.
You just
It's
gotta-
on the Discovery Channel at 9 a.m.
It's on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah,
you can't.
just
you can't
YouTube
find it.
It's,
You can't
clips.
find it
it's
on
at
YouTube,
9
dude.
a.m. California time, so it's on there at like 4 a.m. our time.
Of course.
Just sometimes Discovery, usually when they come on. But yeah, Discovery Channel. If you don't have Discovery Channel, then. But yeah, that's when it comes on. Most all of them.
Did you ever fish any of the MLF before it was the BPT? Any of the?
Yeah, for 1 year I did. 1 year, yeah, like a year or so I did.
Man, I was excited this year about the MLF, like how they were doing the college thing again. Like
Yeah.
if you fish these FLW events, like certain ones, and you it was like you and your second place team, it was like your top 2 teams combined points. Like the top 5 teams would go to a certain event, and like I remember the one was on Smith Mountain Lake, and like the top 2 teams got to go to the St. Lawrence, and I think it was like the 3rd week of June, like when it opened, and we ended up fishing that one and coming in. I mean, we didn't do well there. I think we came in like 40th, but we had a team that came in 3rd there. Like, man, we would have gotten to qualify for that MLF event. I hope they do that again this year because
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
want to fish that format again.
I've never done it. I'd like to try it out. But
Well, y'all want to try and wrap this thing up?
yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up with the raffle that or the giveaway.
So
For-
let's talk about
me
the
ask-
next giveaway, though.
Let me ask Jordan one last question. It's just eating at me. What's next? You've done it all. What's your next career goal?
Career goal. I
Career
never really
goal.
had any goals coming into it, but I mean the next goal, except just to keep fishing. I mean that's really my next goal is just to keep grinding away. But I mean, yeah, I mean the classics and the angler of the year. I just want to stay consistent. That's kind of the next thing. I mean, just every year's a new year. You know, you're only as good as your last tournament, so you got to keep at it and keep pressing.
For sure.
I heard
Consistency
Jordan Lee
is
wanted
key.
to get in a fight
Go back.
with Jake Paul. I heard he was the next big contestant.
MMA.
I think the next thing is go back to Auburn and get back on the bass team.
Oh yeah,
Bring it on.
Masters.
You're gonna have to prove to us that you're the right kind of angler.
We got initiations now, man. Yeah, I don't know if you can make it through.
It's pretty much a fraternity.
Oh, I can make it through initiations.
Oh yeah.
We need some Greek letters.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see.
Y'all be the judge of that.
I think the red crest is the next step. I think that's what it is. Are you excited about the red crest coming up pretty soon?
Yeah, it's coming in a couple weeks. I mean,
Where's that?
It's gonna be in-
Palestine?
Palestine.
Yeah.
Palestine.
Yeah.
What do you say? Whatever.
Palestine,
Going
whatever
to the
it
Middle
is.
East. What do you think about that?
Dang, that's how are you gonna pull your boat all the way over there?
I'm actually excited about that one because that's like there's not like have been like a ton of big tournaments
So
out
much.
there.
There's so much timber in that lake. I was watching DC's like pre-practice video. It's just timber everywhere. It's like people are going to pre-practice just to figure out how to run
It's the biggest thing.
to not waste time.
Yeah. Practice, so it should be exciting. My 2 days of practice should be a lot of stumps being hit. So brand new boat, that'll be fun.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
How many days? So you have 2 days of practice for the Red Crest. How many days after that last day of practice until you actually have the tournament? Is it immediately after?
Yes, next day.
Okay, yeah, because that's nice. Because I know the classics it's like a
Yeah.
whole week and a half event.
Yeah, it's a long ordeal.
Yeah,
So
like you
yeah,
practice and
let's
go
get
back.
there and get after it.
That's cool. Yeah. So what's the next giveaway?
Okay, next giveaway. So we told everybody they need to comment a hammer because that's Such's least favorite emoji. They need to comment a hammer on this last Instagram post about the podcast. And we're going to have a drawing. Call it the Real Tree Raffle. We got everybody's names cut out on a piece of paper in this Real Tree hat. We're going to draw and give away an Auburn Bass team shirt. But next week, we got a really big opportunity. We're giving away a brand new Revo SX of your choice. I believe the choices are 7-3 to 1 or 6-6 to 1.
Baitcaster or spinner?
Baitcaster, yeah.
Nice.
So you get to pick right hand or left hand.
Can I enter in this?
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause I got some rods that need reels.
Jordan Lee is going to come up with the requirements for the giveaway. The number one requirement, you got to subscribe to the Danglers, the Auburn University Bass Team YouTube series. But what else? What else do they need to do, Jordan?
Anything.
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to definitely go to your Instagram and make sure they're liking your page. That's got to be a requirement.
I like
Big
it.
time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Like
So
the
they can-
Auburn University Bass Team page.
Yep. They definitely have to go there. And is this giveaway gonna be on Instagram?
Let's go live on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it in the middle of the next week's podcast.
We'll post.
And we'll do an Instagram live.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that.
I like that. Yeah. Not a Revo SX. I'm sorry, I messed it up. We're giving away a Jordan Lee combo here.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah. Jordan Lee
Make it the J.
combo.
Lee combo.
Yeah.
Jordan Lee combo.
I totally forgot we decided on that
Yeah,
earlier.
I thought that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
I
follow
like-
Auburn's team.
Follow Auburn
Auburn-
University Bass
follow-
Team.
Gotta like the
Subscribe.
post. We'll get the post going. Follow Jordan Lee.
Subscribe to the
Subscribe.
podcast, to the YouTube series.
Yeah, if you're
And then obviously-
if you're not
obviously-
following Jay
give
Lee,
obviously-
you're out.
If you're not following the three people on this couch, you're out.
Yeah.
We'll drop a link. We'll drop a link.
That's a lot of requirements. So if they do that, they should earn it.
Yeah.
I feel.
So I mean, it's
That's
a lot.
enough.
It's a lot of following you gotta do, but you gotta keep in mind.
I think
Again,
every
the J. Lee
giveaway
combo.
needs to get harder and harder.
Yeah.
Like more and more
Yeah.
requirements.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's
test.
not-
It's like a college course. Like it builds.
Giveaways
No.
are too easy
Comprehensive.
nowadays.
I remember. All right. Scratch everything we just said. Scratch it all. There's not really a way we can tell if you're subscribed to our team page on YouTube unless you comment. Then we can see that you're subscribed to our team page. So,
Yeah.
2 requirements. You watch this YouTube video all the way through. You're listening to us right now. You're
It's gonna be a long
subscribed.
time.
You're subscribed to this page, and you comment on this page. Jordan, what do they need to comment?
What's the word?
What's the safe
The
word?
word. It's got to be some Auburn phrase. It's got to be something Auburn.
There's only one that comes to mind.
I can only think of
Okay.
one.
Okay, well, that's all I can think of too. So they just need, if they're true, more
Yeah.
damn eagle.
You got
WD.
Yeah. More damn
WD.
eagle.
Does
Or
WDE meet the requirement?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll root out any Bammers from winning the giveaway.
For sure.
Yeah, got to be somebody on y'all's team that wins, and that's a win-win.
All right, Jordan. Just Last thing. Just tell us when. I'm going to shake this and tell us when. That's going to be the winner of this one.
All right. Now.
Congratulations. Pelt Stephanie, you have won an Auburn t-shirt for this week's raffle or drawing. I don't know if you can see that, but congrats.
At Pelt Stephanie.
At Pelt Stephanie from the Auburn Bass team. The
Got an
Danglers.
Auburn University Bass team shirt headed your way.
DM the Auburn University Bass team Instagram, and we'll get your address and we'll send it to you.
Perfect.
Well, Jordan,
Awesome, guys.
We
Appreciate
appreciate
had
having
fun.
you on, man.
I know it's late
Yep.
for a Thursday.
Yeah, it's old for me. You know, I'm getting to bed early now, but I appreciate it. I had a good time. We'll do it again.
This is fun.
Sounds good.
Almost
Well,
as long as one of those Stray Cast podcasts, honestly.
This is about 3 times as long as our first podcast.
uh,
What's our time at, Mitchell? We're at 2
hours.
hours.
Wow.
Our first podcast was 42 minutes? 41?
This one went. It's all. I had a good time.
This is
We'll do it
great.
again.
this is
Absolutely.
we'll interview after Redcast. Maybe, hopefully, we have something big to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Red
Yeah.
Crest Dub.
Hopefully.
Even if we don't, we'll chat it up.
We're still singing karaoke
We'll,
either way.
we'll try to get you
Maybe we
in.
go hang out in Coleman with Jordan when we're up there at Smith Lake this season.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go to Milo's for lunch or something.
I like your style.
You like Milo's? Because I'm down
Nobody-
with some Milo's.
Nobody eats Chick-fil-A's right. All to yourself.
You broke up. What'd you say?
He said no one eats Chick-fil-A's, I think.
I just said nobody eats at Milo's because Chick-fil-A's next door. So yeah, I'm down with that.
Let's go to Milo's.
Perfect.
Milo's and Mary Carter's.
And
Two
John-
best
There you go.
places in
Johnny's
Coleman.
Barbecue.
I like it. Bringing out all the Coleman juice.
Dang.
We're pretty much locals at this point.
Yeah. I mean, we've been there 2 years in a row going
Bass,
on 3.
Bass
so.
has sent us there 3 years in a row now. So
Well, we appreciate it, Jordan.
All right, guys.
You
Y'all be
take it easy,
good.
brother.
Hey,
War
be
Eagle.
good. War Damn
Hey.
Eagle.
War damn.
War Eagle boys. See ya.